Hello. So, since I've been gone, I've been trying to make the staff side more functional. So, right now I was able to store details about clients, but something else we need, is their address. So, how I did that, well, actually, I'll just show you working right now. Before I just use names for clients, this is only like enterprises and industries because I asked ChatGPT to generate some test data and it came out with this, but it doesn't matter. So, here we go. It's none of it's the prettiest thing just yet. And then I go see addresses, and then you can have multiple addresses for each business. You can have just one, and I've got too many edit buttons as you can see, but this all does need a little polishing up. Yeah, definitely. And then I can go and I can edit one. Country Shireton update. See addresses. Country Shireton. What else we have? So that's nice. So once it's done, that spits you back out on the on the user on that you were just updating the addresses for. And how do I do that? So what do I do? Oh yeah, and obviously you can create it too. Actually no, scrap that, you can't create addresses just yet, but it'll just be similar functionality. That won't be a problem at this point. Oh yeah, there is another field I wanted to add. I have added in my thing called I believe it's cost of call out or something like that, which is roughly, it's just when you call the vet. Well, the way my mum does is if you're close to her, there's no call out fee. That was a call out fee. But if you aren't, then there's a call out fee. So that should be next to the address, but I forgot to do that, so I'll be doing that later. But again, as long as most of it's there. So I started by I made some just changes around based on this, on just improving my codes, but here we've got clients, and as it's quite similar, I've replicated a lot of the client logic. Not perfectly, as something a bit like, did I do something wrong here? So, yeah, but I'll walk you through it as if we're starting. So, where do we start using this code? First of all, we are on show.view.php. So, we're on the client, and we've gone on, and you can see the details about that client. And here we have HTML special chars. We're showing off all the things about the client. And then down here we have a button that says see addresses, and it goes to address and it gets the client ID, and it takes that, which is the foreign key linking these two, because it allows for one client to many addresses, but it doesn't allow for it to be the other way around. Although that is theoretically quite possible, but we're not going to deal with that. So yeah, it goes and it gets the client address. It gets a client ID and goes to address, and I believe that takes me to, if I look at routes, which I have tidied up, so I just copy and pasted all the clients stuff, and I changed it a little at the front because I've got a different deal with show going on, and that's pretty much all the same. So address, and it was, let me go back. Alright, so it's it's a get with address. So if we look at gets with address, get. Here we are. First one, index.php. So we go up here, address, index.php, and we've passed in the client ID alright. So we resolve the database. We get the address ID for the client's address. So select everything from addresses where client ID is equal to, and then I pass in the client ID we've got. And that means, it's a 2D array we're making, because there could be multiple. So now we've done that, we go to address show.view.php, and we bring addresses with us, so all the details about all the addresses they have. Let's go to addresses.show.view.php. Here we are. Now just so I could get the client ID, I just go to the first value we pass in, and I use that because now we needed the which allows us to go back to the correct client. So just need another client ID for that. And then, by the way, everything I'm showing you, AI wasn't used unless I specifically marked it. So far that's nowhere, I believe. So I use the strong tag to make it appear to the side. For each addresses as address, it's kind of similar to what I've got for each clients as client way back. So you can see each one. So it all starts on a line. I go for each one. I've got the HTML special chars, and I show street, city, county, postcode, country. And it should have the additional call out fee, but I forgot to put that there. And then it should have and then it just does that for each address. I need to fix the delete button, but that's a job for later. I believe that edit is actually fine too. But yeah, that's a job for later. So, what else do we have here? Yeah, that's pretty much the main bit, and for each one, there is a edit button. As you can see, that's in the this time. Or it's in the PHP logic. And as you click on that, you go to address, edit, so it's an address/edit, and you get address ID. You go into address, get address ID, and that way you know exactly what address you're talking about. And then if we go down to routes, which I'll just do for the sake of following, get address/edit, address/edit.php. So if we go up to edit.php and address, perfect, and we pass in the ID, so the address ID. Select everywhere from data. Addresses equals select everywhere from addresses where address ID equals address ID, and we pass that in. And then once we've got that, we then go to address/edit.view.php, and we take with us the errors because we want to keep that error feedback going. And then here we pass in address. So let's go to address.view.php. Oh, edit.view.php. And it's going to make a patch. It's using the post method, but then we have a value of patch. So patch request with the action of address. Good to know. And then here we take the address ID. What do we do? Oh yeah, and we've got the little boxes allowing you to enter values for each one. So this is for update, and then we've got our placeholder of the actual value so far. And if not, no, we pass in the actual value so far for each one. And then if there's nothing there, then we've got the placeholders. Same logic as in I believe clients and update. So I pretty much I just copy and paste it from there. Nice. So a few more things to do. And then is this cancel? Cancel takes us back. It takes the client ID and takes us back to that client. And then here we should have submit, which then makes the form method post action address, but we're using the patch method in reality. So let's go patch methods with an action of address, because that's what that submit's just really triggered. Routes, patch, address, update.php. Perfect. And then I was pleased because I accidentally cleaned up a lot of the logic I had here before. And I'm not sure if you'll see it, but it's a lot tighter than what it used to be, so I'm very pleased. So first of all, validate. I renamed the name validator I'll quick get out. It was at the top. Yeah, it was originally called name, and I've renamed it to string because name was when I literally was only using it for name, and it's very generic. And in reality, I want this for string when we've got a mix of numbers and letters, because I've also got one just as letters below. So which is just to make sure there aren't any letters. So I've called it string, a bit more generic now. I can use it for more things. And if we go back, so yeah, string, what's it? Make sure I don't need special. Make sure it's not too short or long. So that's what we want to do for that blank for a sec. Text. What this does is it makes sure, and that's another thing I added though. I did get AI to generate my text. Well, as you can see, I've got my here, but I did get AI to generate this. So the following, and what it does, it checks if everything. First of all, it gets rid of any blank spaces. Then it makes sure that nothing is a special character and nothing is a number. So I was thinking for foreign place names, I want you to be able to, I'm not sure, like, let's say it's like an accent above the E and you just paste it in, I want that to be able to work. Or for whatever reason there's a Mandarin name in there, you know, I think it should work. So as long as it's not a special character, as long as it's not a number, it will be validated. I believe I've shown you phone number before, and that is AI as well. But yeah, so now if we go back to update.php, that's my text validator. So text, string for postcode, and it's got a length of 5 and 7. And we get rid of the spaces before we do that. So that's how many numbers you should / letters you should have. Text. We'll have to have another, possibly quite a different one for call out video when I get there. Address. So select everywhere from addresses, where address ID equals address ID. And then we pass an address ID, which we get from the post. And I used to wonder why we had this here, because I was like, why don't we just pass in the post values again? Because that seemed to work fine. We were getting everything from here. But then I remembered the post was what the users updated. And for now, I don't want to be passing back their incorrect poorly formatted values. I think you could argue that you should do that, so in case they type out something very long, you want them to be able to access that again. But for now, I'm just going to, I'm not 100% certain on that, but I understand why it's there. So I'm very pleased about that, because I did not use it fully. Now when I was doing this tutorial and I was in it. And then, if there's something in the errors, so if it's been added, then we pass back the errors, we pass back the address as we've just defined here. If not, then we need to sanitize. So you can see there's a new function here, sanitize string. That is not an inbuilt function. I made that using inbuilt functions. So if we go to, because I noticed last time I had this logic and I was going to start repeating it before. I had cleaned, no, I had its name. I'm now realizing actually I don't need to do that, but it could just be called value, but well. So I had value equals trim value, and then value equals filter var value. Except it was actually this line. It was top line here, bottom line here. And I was going to start having to repeat that for each one, so I said no, I'm just going to pass it in, call it a function. I tried to use this line, which I do believe worked, but wasn't working, it was deprecated. But funnily enough, the line it gave me is deprecated as well, but I'm just using it. I use the @ sign to make the deprecated lines go away, which I'm told it's not brilliant, but it still works, and so I can look for it for now, because I do not know how to fix it. So this sanitizes all the inputs I put in. So if we go back to update, sanitize string, we pass in the street, we do it for each one, and then we pass in those sanitized values. So yeah, not getting hacked. And then I had to adjust the header, because before we could just go back to client index page when we were doing this for clients, but I don't ever want to have to go back like more than one step. So I wanted to go back to the client you've just updated it for in their details. So you could definitely argue maybe it should be on address, but it'd be a similar theory nevertheless. So we go to address redirect, which I have down here and it's a get method, and we pass in the client ID held in address. Get redirect goes to redirect.php. Voila. select it all from clients, or client equals select all from clients, where client ID equals pass in the client ID. So we do that, and then as it creates us a 2D database, 2D array, I wish it wouldn't, I don't know how to make it not. We're just going to take the first value,